A man had a cage in his hand came in the railway station. He sat on the bench while he started reading a book. He opened the book and saw the picture of Baroness Eleonora Acel. He glanced outside and thought, that woman again. Eleonora Acel was shocked when she saw a dragon while she broke the egg in the frying pan to make breakfast. A dragon came out of the egg. She thought, oh, this is, the dragon said, cheap? She also thought, a dragon. Right, it's a dragon. She thought, seeing him, dragons appeared briefly in the distant past, but nowadays, they only decorate the back pages of our encyclopedias, existing only in legend. Even in my wildest dreams, I would have never imagined. He kept saying, chirp chirp. She thought, a dragon hatching from the egg I was about to fry. I'm possessing someone in a romantic fantasy infamous for starting strong and petering out by the end. I didn't mean to possess anyone. I just died from exhaustion, then opened my eyes as a ghost wandering through another world. Eleonora Acel was sitting behind the table and thought, I found a dead body lying around, so I just took it. A clean, wound-free body. She looks more like a doll than a corpse. I possessed a character named Eleonora Acel, a villain powerful enough to become the strongest in the world. So strong, yet so easily killed by the heroes. Unfortunately, I had no idea what world I was in, or who I was possessing. Eleonora Acel was sleeping on the couch and thought, no one knows I possessed Eleonora's body, so in a few years, I'm doomed to die at the hands of the protagonists. Let me out! Until I'd completely assimilated into this body. She took a bag and went, thinking, so I escaped to the countryside, determined this time not to slog through life and die of overwork. Eleonora Acel became happy and thought, here, in rustic Sorrent, I can kick back, eat good food, and live in peace. Eleonora Acel glanced at him and thought, this is clearly, the dragon said, cheap. Renia Voltaire laughed and thought, the heroine's pet dragon from the novel. The one that's gonna roast me whole at the end. Eleonora thought as she was sitting on the sofa. Originally, the heroine, Renia, picked up the dragon's egg, thereby imprinting herself on the baby dragon. Eleonora said to him, how'd you end up at the wrong address, little guy? She took a cage and put him into it. She thought while calling the knight, a missing child should be returned to its guardian. Eleonora said to the knights, please send this to the capital. The dragon said, cheap, when he was in the cage. The knight asked her, what was that sound? She replied, oh, you must just be hearing things. She thought, I don't want anything to do with this. Eleonora became very happy and thought, phew, that was just a minor speed bump. My peaceful, leisurely life's still full steam ahead. The next day, Eleonora was surprised when she saw the dragon come back and say, cheap. She said to him, is this a dream? She grabbed her hair and said, oh. Good, I'm going back to bed. She turned and glanced at him. He picked her dress. She tried to run, but he strongly held onto her dress. She shouted and said, all right. Truce, truce. She grabbed him with a cloth. He said to her, cheap, cheap. She smiled and said, I win? The dragon was helpless and thought, at times like this, all those magical inventions Eleonora wrote down in her diary sure do come in handy. He fell to the floor and started weeping while she was looking at him. He said, hic. Eleonora took him and said, phew. What am I gonna do with this poor thing? I was too harsh. She put her hand on his head and said to him, stop crying, little one. She shouted, ugh, did you get sent to the wrong place, honey? She took the cage again and thought, I got a notice saying the package had arrived safely. And I'm pretty sure I locked the chest. The dragon said to her, peep. She thought, don't worry. I'll get you back to your destined mother, no matter what. She unlocked the cage and put him into it. She shouted and said, cheap, cheap. Eleonora also shouted and said to him, this is all for your sake. Just hold on a bit, sweetheart. She strongly asked the knight as she was holding the cage, first-class mail, please. Be sure this is delivered safely to the Count's daughter, Renia Voltaire. The dragon said from inside, hic, hic. The next day, Eleonora was shocked to see him. He said, cheap. She shouted and said, why why do you keep coming back? They were thought that during a dragon's incubation period, it begins to form attachments to humans it comes in close contact with. It eventually finds a favorite person from among them and carries out a process called imprinting. Imprinting is essential in order for dragons, beings from another world, to properly exist in this one. Dragons that have imprinted with humans are able to take on human form. Or at least that's the description in the original novel. When Dragon took a human form, he said, "Boo! Boo!" Eleonora Acel, surprised, "Hey, you didn't just randomly imprint with me, did you? You're growing so fast." He said to her, "Boo!" She said, "Ha." Eleonora Acel thought, finding an egg that big rolling around on the ground in the marketplace was already absurd. Having it turn out to be a dragon's egg makes even less sense. Maybe someone lost it? But dragon eggs are usually kept in the palace. How could anyone lose something that precious? Especially here in the sticks. Unless someone intentionally left it in an alley I pass through all the time. Eleonora Acel further thought, I don't know anyone here, but plenty of people know about Eleonora the witch. Eleonora Acel said to her kid, "Do you remember who threw you away here in Sorrent?" He replied to her, "Abuh?" Eleonora Acel, seeing him, said, "Yes, I know you were inside the egg. Still, you're a dragon. Did you hear any weird sounds coming from outside the shell or anything like that?" She again said, "Ha." Eleonora Acel thought while giving him some milk. In the original story, the heroine Renia accidentally drops and breaks a dragon egg during a visit to the imperial palace. Then, just like that, the dragon imprints with her. Renia is then pursued by the evil Eleonora, who covets the dragon's power. In the process, Renia forms an alliance with the hero. Of course, I have no intention of interfering with the original story. The palace must be in an uproar over the missing dragon egg. I've got to get him back to his original owner as soon as possible. Eleonora Acel said to him, "Hey, dragon. The imprinting won't be complete as long as I don't give you a name, right? I'm not trying to throw you away. I just want to return you to your original mother." There, she put him on the bed and thought, he looks like an angel when he sleeps. She opened the door and went outside. Eleonora Acel thought, you'll be happier living with a heroine rather than with a lazy, lethargic person like me. A man came to the Sorrent police department and said, I'm a detective from Taziva. The policeman said to him, Taziva? He said to him, Taziva? Who are you? What department are you from? The man replied, I'm from a jet. I'm the commander of the Investigation and Security Bureau. The policeman was shocked and thought, the commander? Unusual purple eyes. The commander said to him, as you know, I came here in regard to the incident. A golden pin on his lapel. The commander asked him, has anything of note happened here in Sorrent? I'd like to take a look at the incident report involving Baroness Eleonora Acel. And that revolver. The policeman was surprised and thought, is he really Commander Kyle Leonard? He said to him, Baroness Acel has never caused any problems. The policeman also said to him, she doesn't even go into town very often. Things are always peaceful here in Sorrent. Commander Kyle said to him, I see, he replied, gee goodbye. Commander Kyle turned slightly and said, tidy this place up. And no napping on duty. The policeman stood up and loudly said, why yes, sir. Kyle said to him, well then. Commander Kyle, taking a cage and walking, thought, I'll have to go take a look at her myself. He saw her and thought, is that, Kyle Leonard thought, Baroness Acel? A baby? A man said to her, what are they talking about? He took the baby from her. The commander, behind the door, thought, what the? Eleonora Acel sat down and thought, thrown away again. Okay, honey. If you go with this man to the capital, there'll be someone waiting to meet you. The capital? Eleonora Acel said to him, oh my. Aren't you a cutie? The uncle said to him, come along with uncle. He also said, good heavens. The uncle shouted and thought, where are you going? The dragon sat behind the trees and thought, she must hate me, that's 5 times now. So mean. He started weeping and thought, I hate her. The commander said to him, hey little one. Have you lost your way? Who? Or did you lose your mother? Eleonora Acel was sleeping in the house. Eleonora Acel woke up and went downstairs. She said, "I'm coming." She thought, "Who is it?" She became very angry and said, "Wah. You're back again? You don't listen to anything I say dash." "What the, who?" the commander said to her. "Who are you?" while taking him. Dragon tears poured out and said, "Wah." "Huh." The dragon said, "Wah." Eleonora Acel took him and said, "Don't cry." The commander said to her, "Are you the one who abandoned this child?" Eleonora Acel said, "Pardon?" Commander Kyle Leonard said, "I asked if you're the one who abandoned him." She thought, black hair, purple eyes, and that pin, she said, "Kyle Leonard." Commander Kyle Leonard said to her, "I'm honored you remember me, Baroness Acel. But please answer the question." He also said, "I asked if you abandoned this child." She thought, that Kyle Leonard, the protagonist of the original novel. As I recall, he's the second son of Duke Leonard, and is currently a high-ranking official in the Investigation and Security Bureau of the Imperial City, the head of the division in the capital of Taziva, and the commander overseeing all of the Loran district. He's a genius detective, the youngest ever commander. All of his stats are amazing, but above all else, his greatest skill is... The commander loudly said, "Drop your weapons and surrender." Marksman said, "It's Kyle Leonard. Watch that back door." Kyle thought marksmanship. He thought that since Eleonora's had a hand in most crimes in Loran, she and Leonard are bitter enemies. Half the reason I moved to the countryside was to avoid attracting his attention. The commander thought, and now he's on my doorstep. Eleonora said to him, "I wasn't trying to throw him away." She also said, "I only wanted to return him to his original guardian." The commander replied, "That's not what the boy told me." She asked, "Pardon?" The dragon grabbed her tightly and shouted, "Please don't throw me away." She shouted, "I'll never drink milk again. I won't bud you." And the dragon tried to hug her and said, "Sniffle, sniffle, please don't throw me away." Eleonora was shocked and thought, he can talk now? He could only gurgle yesterday. Commander Kyle said to her, "If you aren't his guardian, then what is your relationship to this child?" Eleonora shouted, "I don't have anything to do with him, I swear." The dragon started weeping again and said, "Master." The commander was surprised and asked, "Master?" Eleonora said, "What's this kid saying now? First of all, Sir Leonard, he isn't my child. I met him for the first time 6 days ago. Further, she said, but no matter how hard I try to send him back, he just won't go." The commander took out a book and wrote, "Child abandonment." She shouted, Child abandonment? This is all a misunderstanding." The commander Kyle said, "There's also suspected child abuse and child abandonment. Besides, how could you make a 2-year-old kid refer to you as master? That's hardly normal behavior." Eleonora said, "I didn't tell him to do that. That butcher, Walter, is trustworthy and..." Commander Kyle replied, "That man left for the capital as soon as you gave him the child, like he'd been waiting for you. What were you trying to do with this child?" Eleonora said, "Well, you see, his guardian's in the capital." Commander Kyle asked, "Can you prove that?" Eleonora was shocked and said, That's. Commander Kyle said, "You'll need to write an affidavit, Baroness." Eleonora replied, "An affidavit?" Commander Kyle said, "Additionally, we'd like to inform you that you're under suspicion regarding the case of Lisa Virginier's missing egg back in Loran. We'd appreciate your cooperation." He also said, "And since you already have a lengthy criminal record, a warrant has already been issued under His Majesty Emperor Lawrence's authority." She shouted, "What?" She thought, they totally think I'm an egg thief. It's not like that at all. I was only trying to set things straight. The dragon grabbed her wrist and said, "First off, you'll need to come with me to the W8. She asked, "Why don't you come in so I can explain myself first?" Commander Kyle said, "Unhand me. If you don't, I'll be forced to." She saw a rope and said, "A rope." Eleonora said, "Huh?" Someone caught them with a rope. They said, "Huh? What? Whoa, af." Eleonora said, She woke up, touched her head, and said, "Ugh, my head." The dragon said, "Sniffle." Commander Kyle was caught with a rope and fell on the ground. He said, "Please get off me, Baroness." Eleonora said, sorry." She put her hand on her head and thought, "Ugh, my head. Commander Kyle said to her, I forgot, I always need to be armed when dealing with you. You've clearly never heard of self-reflection. He said to her, Baroness. Commander Kyle stood up and said, Are you all right? She said to him, I have low blood pressure. My back isn't what it used to be. I don't have the energy to fight anyone. Actually, right now, I just want to go back to bed. Commander asked her, What are you trying to say? She replied, What I mean is, I don't allow such scary things on my turf, she said. Sir Leonard. Commander Kyle fell down on the floor. He was sitting on the chair. Eleonora said, He's not dead, right? I wasn't trying to hit him, it was an accident. I meant to do something else. The dragon caught her and said, Master, are you okay? Eleonora turned and said, I'm telling you this just in case, but you must never transform in front of that man. The dragon replied, Okay. Eleonora said, And stop calling me master. The dragon said, But you are my master, she shouted. No, I'm not. She sat down and said, How am I supposed to raise a kid? I don't know the first thing about parenting. She thought, I don't want to get sucked into the plot of the novel. I'm so tired. I just want to rest. I just want to be left alone to rest. The dragon said, Can I stay here? The dragon shouted, I'll protect you, master. Eleonora said, What? Who's gonna protect whom? The dragon said, That man's causing you trouble, right, master? I can handle it, while looking at the fire in his hand. She shouted and thought, He's only one man. If you want, I could easily take care of him right now. No! The dragon said, Are you gonna kick me out again? She replied, Hey, don't cry. She thought, no matter how cute he looks, he's still a dragon. In the novel, he roasted Eleonora to death. She thought, if I let him out, it'll end in a murder case. I need to start teaching him early. Eleonora said, I won't throw you out. But you shouldn't kill living things on a whim, the dragon said. No? She also said, Nope. Now repeat after me. I won't casually kill things. The dragon pointed his finger and said, I won't casually kill things. She replied, Right. Good job. Eleonora also said, You shouldn't hurt people for no reason, and you shouldn't lie or steal either. No matter how much you want to, you've gotta control yourself. If you're not sure, then ask me first before you do anything. She also said, As long as that man doesn't find out that you're a dragon, you can stay with me. You just have to keep it a secret. Can you do that? The dragon said, If I do those things, I can stay with you? She replied, Yes. The dragon shouted, Okay, I'll do it. She replied, All right. And, my name's Noah. Call me that, not master. She glanced at him and said, Just because I told you my name doesn't mean I'll imprint with you. We'll only be together for a while. In the meantime, watch me carefully, and think about whether you'd want to actually imprint with me. She furthermore asked, Then make a decision about whether I should become your master. Got it? He replied, But. She took him and said, No buts. Now, that's enough talking for tonight. A child like you shouldn't be up at dawn like this. Close your eyes. The dragon said, Noah's very tired right now. She slept on the bed and said, If you don't want to sleep, then go keep an eye on him. The dragon was shocked and looked for him while she was sleeping. Commander Kyle removed his hand from the rope and said, Phew. Commander glanced and thought, First off, I need to find my things. This house is too plain to belong to Eleonora Acel. Everything fell down, and he thought, It's a bit messy too. It's completely different from her huge, glamorous mansions in the capital. Baroness Acel leading a frugal life out in the countryside. What on earth has gotten into her? Baroness slept on the bed. Commander thought, if only her actions matched her beautiful looks. Dragon said, That's enough. Commander thought, He seems a bit bigger than before. Dragon said, I won't let you lay a finger on Noah. His voice is clearer than yesterday, and his pronunciation's better. Commander said, What's your name? Dragon replied, I don't have one. Noah hasn't given me one yet. He thought, hasn't given him one? A nameless child with strangely accelerated growth who calls the Baroness Master. Dragon thinks, could it be? Kyle said, What are you? he replied. I need to get in Noah's good books, so I can't say. Eleonora, drinking milk, said, Am I feeding him right? I can't tell. I've never done this before. I'd better bundle you up so you don't catch a cold while you sleep. Dragon said, I can't tell you what I am, but you seem to know already. He thought, I could kill anything that gets in the way, but you shouldn't hurt people for no reason. And you shouldn't lie or steal either. No matter how much you want to, you've got to control yourself. If you're not sure, then ask me first before you do anything. Dragon said, Mister, do you want to make a deal with me? Dragon also said, Please don't let Noah abandon me. If you do that, I won't kill you or get in your way. Commander thought, I have no intention of allowing the dragon and Eleonora to imprint. But in order to prevent that and uncover the truth about this case, I'll need to investigate closely. Commander said, All right, she thought, You've got a deal. She woke up and thought, I slept almost a full day. Why have my head and stomach been aching so much lately? Dragon said, Noah, she said, let's sleep more. Eleonora shouted happily, Oh, right. That man. Commander said, You sure sleep a long time, Baroness. She thought, How'd he untie that rope? Commander Kyle said, Now that you're awake, let's sit down and discuss things properly. Commander Kyle and Eleonora sat together. He said, You should do some cleaning. Yeah, maybe someday you'll need to write those affidavits. One regarding the child abandonment charges, the other for the disappearance of Lisa Virginier's egg. 2 in total. Eleonora said, I don't have anything to do with a missing egg case. Commander stood and said, That's what you always say. I'm perfectly aware that you won't come quietly to the police station. Eleonora shouted, If you won't come with me, then I have no choice but to stick with you. What? She thought, You're the prime suspect in the missing egg case. His Majesty the Emperor sent me here to search for you. I've been issued a permit and warrant to keep a close eye on you. She also said, Don't I get a say? Commander removed his coat and said, You may recall the pledge and letter of apology you submitted 2 years ago. Were you ever to refuse to cooperate with our investigations, you pledged you'd return all your assets to society and dedicate the rest of your life to community service. Isn't that right, Baroness? Don't forget your 15 previous convictions. He turned, glanced at her, and said, To start with, let's get cleaning. She said, Pardon? She thought, This is an illegal magical item. I'm going to confiscate it. What? How long has this been stuck there? I might need that later. No, you won't. Throw it out. I'm confiscating this. This too. And throw this away. Commander said loudly, Cough, 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 cough. Commander kicked her and said, Stay outside, Baroness. Eleonora said, You did a great job. Thank you. Commander replied, It's all part of the investigation. You did a great job. Thank you. It's all part of the investigation. Dragon said, I helped him too. She put her hands on his head and said, Thanks, kiddo. The house looks so clean now. He replied, Don't make a mess and, from now on, please tidy up occasionally. Eleonora said, All right, huh? Commander said, At least when I come here. She thought, Are you all right, Baroness? Everything's going black. What's wrong, Master? She thought, seriously, I told you not to call me Master. Commander thought, This is a world where you can't simply do what you're told. Commander said to her, You can't just follow orders like a robot. You've got to be proactive and figure out what needs to be done. She was sitting in the office and said, Nowadays, if you work hard, your efforts are bound to be recognized someday. Eleonora thought, I've just got to give it my all. If I do well on this project, I'll definitely. She glanced and thought, I've just got to do a good job. I'm sure people will notice. If not now, then someday, he said to her, Do you have time, Noah? Please take care of this too. She replied, Okay. Eleonora thought, I'll definitely. No one recognized my efforts. Eleonora raised after sleep and thought, I've always been lethargic, but I can't believe I collapsed like that. Reminds me of when I collapsed at the office. Dragon thought, Wah. Commander took him and said, You shouldn't hug sick people, little one. Commander Kyle also said to her, Are you up now? Eleonora asked him, Did you just treat me like a germ? she said to him. He's still a little boy. Kyle sat behind her and said, If you'll allow me. She was shocked and said, what? No. Commander Kyle said to her, If I wanted to hurt you, I would have done it earlier. I'm checking your temperature. She said, My temperature? He checked her temperature with his hand and said, You have a slight fever. She said to him, I do? Perhaps I've caught a cold. Kyle took her wrist and said, But such a low-grade fever wouldn't usually cause fainting. Furthermore, he said, How long have you been this weak? She replied, I haven't always been this way. Eleonora's body was really healthy, she thought, and strong. Kyle said to her, Have you used an excessive amount of magic recently? Eleonora replied, Not at all. She thought, I don't even know how. Commander Kyle glanced and said to her, Strange. He also said to her, First off, you should refrain from hugging or sleeping with that child. She asked, Why? Kyle Leonard said to her, Well, didn't you just refer to yourself as a germ? It'd be a problem if the child got infected. Dragon said to her, We can't sleep together, Master. She replied to him, It's Noah, not Master. Dragon shouted and said, Noah? He took him and said, Get some more sleep. I'll wake you before I leave. Eleonora, sleeping on the bed, thought, I don't think dragons can catch colds. He handed him to her and, going outside, said, You're looking carefree as usual today. She said to him, That's because I have low blood pressure. He turned and said to her, Low pressure isn't the problem. He also said to her, The one you're holding's the problem. He took him from her and said, When he was going, I told you not to sleep next to the child, Baroness. Confiscated. She felt uncomfortable and said, Seeing him sleep alone made me feel guilty. And besides, aren't you the carefree one? I mean, you practically just waltzed right in, didn't you, Sir Leonard? Didn't you agree to cooperate with the investigation? Yeah. Leonard readied a newspaper, and she said, Wow, you're gonna work yourself into an early grave doing things like that. He asked her, Is that a curse? She replied to him, It's pity. Someone knocked on the door. He said, Oh, please come in. He said, I called for a doctor. The doctor said, Hello. The doctor saw the blood and said, Your nutritional balance isn't ideal. What's your diet usually like? Eleonora, sitting on the sofa, said to the doctor, Bread, cookies, sometimes eggs. The doctor asked her, You don't eat any meat, seafood, or vegetables? She replied, Walter brings me meat sometimes, but seafood and vegetables are a bit. Well, they're hard to finish on my own, and they go bad so quickly. The doctor said, I see. Eleonora also said, It's too much of a hassle to do that much prep and clean up for one meal. The doctor said to her, Then the underlying cause of your symptoms is laziness. The doctor checked her abdomen and said, Just a moment. Your mana seems rather twisted. The doctor also said to her, Even if pure magic has faded from view in the modern age, some people are still born with mana flowing through their bodies. Just like you. Of course, most of them only possess a small amount. Still, it shouldn't be ignored. Magic is a mysterious natural force. If the flow is even slightly off, it can immediately harm the body. The doctor further said to her, In your case, the mana that should be circulating through your body is leaking somewhere, and your symptoms have been aggravated by your poor habits. Eleonora replied, I see. The doctor said to her, Your husband will have to help you improve your lifestyle. Commander Kyle said to her, Pardon? The doctor said, while she was going, If you increase your physical strength, you'll be able to prevent mana leakage. But I still don't know the root cause of the leakage or why it's happening so quickly. For now, I'll prescribe you some medicine too. The doctor bent and said to her carefully, Actually, I'll bet this little guy has been sucking out all his mama's mana. This child's mana is very similar to yours. Eleonora was shocked and asked, Pardon? The doctor said to her, He must have been born with extraordinary power. Children born with the potential to become mages usually absorb mana from their mothers without even realizing it. She thought, No wonder he seems bigger every day, this kid. Dragon was surprised and said, Did I do something wrong? He thought, He's the one who's been stealing my mana. Eleonora thought, She didn't realize he's a dragon, did she? She said, I am a bit tired. I'll just lay down for a Commander Kyle asked her, Baroness. He said to her, "Come over and sit for a while." They were sitting together, and he said to her, "Have you had breakfast?" She replied, "No, I usually don't." Commander Kyle thought that imprinting with the dragon would solve all of her mana problems. If they did, then his mana would permeate her body. But that can't happen. Eleonora became happy and thought, Baroness Acel has always been ambitious. And she's never even pretended to care about rules or morality. What if she gained a dragon's power and became a transcendent being? Commander Kyle thought, it'd be an absolute disaster. He said to her, "Don't use magic for a while." "I don't know if you pull magic from nature like most mages do," but Kyle also said to her, "I'm not sure you'll heed a word I say." She smiled and replied, "Don't worry. I'm all ears." He also said to her, "That's good to hear." She said to him, "You really don't need to worry." Commander Kyle glanced at her and said, "Then there's only one question left." He asked her, "What is this child?" She thought, "The time has finally come." She said to him, "He's a 2-year-old kid who fell from the sky." Kyle said to her, "Are you sure he fell from the sky?" He also said to her, "Fine, let's say he fell from the sky." Dragon said to her, "I didn't mean to hurt you, Noah." Noah replied, "I know. But what should we do?" Eleonora thought, "I know. But what should we do? Should I go to the capital and meet Renia? If I can persuade the dragon to accept her as his master, then our problems will be over. I told the dragon to think about imprinting with me, but becoming his master is completely absurd." She shouted and thought, "Looks like we'll have to go all the way to the capital." Noah said to him, "Then I've got no choice but to." Commander Kyle shouted and said to her, "That's totally unacceptable." Kyle said to her, "Whatever you were thinking simply won't work. There's only one thing to be done." She replied and asked, "What?" Kyle said to her, "Improve your stamina." Commander Kyle picked her up in his arms and said, "What? Don't worry yourself. I'll train you. That way, even if your mana seeps out, it won't be a problem." She shouted and replied, "Why, you don't need to do that." "No, I don't want to." Kyle also shouted and said to her, "It's part of the investigation." She cut the meat and vegetables and prepared breakfast. She thought, when breakfast became ready, "Here, your breakfast." Eleonora said, "This is delicious." She went to bed and slept deeply. Commander Kyle thought, "What am I even doing right now?" Dragon also thought, got kicked out of Noah's room. Commander Kyle said to him, "Didn't you promise not to cause any trouble?" Dragon was sitting on the stool and said to him, "You were gonna tell Noah to abandon me." Dragon also said to him, "You promised to help me imprint with her." "You're a liar." Commander Kyle thought, he's obsessed with Baroness Acel, but it seems rather one-sided. I can't believe she allowed someone to get so close to her in the first place. Commander took a cup of tea and said to him, "Listen carefully, nameless dragon." Kyle also said to him, "If you stay near the Baroness like this, you'll absorb all her remaining mana, and she could die. Do you still want to stay by her side?" Dragon was shocked and said, "I." Dragon also said to him, "She'll get better if I imprint with her." Commander replied to him, "I don't think she has any intention of imprinting with you." Dragon said, "That's why I asked for your help." Kyle asked, "There's only so much I can do. Even in such a terrible condition, she never once suggested imprinting, did she?" Dragon became very sad, tears poured out, and he left. While Commander Kyle took him and said, "Why are you so obsessed? Why does it have to be that woman anyway?" Dragon, weeping, said, "Because Noah helped me hatch, so she was the egg thief." Commander Kyle thought, "But from what I've gathered, Baroness Acel hasn't left Sorrent in 2 years. Eleonora's biometric data is registered in the Imperial Palace. How could she have gotten in without a trace? No matter how powerful a mage she is, how could she possibly have stolen an egg and then so completely vanished? Or did she have an accomplice?" Commander Kyle said to him, "Did you see any other people when you hatched? Or hear any other voices?" Dragon started weeping and said, "Voices?" Dragon said, "Actually, I did hear something like that while I was in my egg." Commander Kyle said to him, "What kind of voice? Did they mention any names?" Dragon replied, "I'm not sure. I was half asleep back then." he thought, so she did have an accomplice. But who? Someone close to the Baroness, who has reason to cooperate with her, and could access the egg without triggering the palace's defense system. Maybe it was him. Baroness put her hand on her face and thought, Ari, why are you being so fussy? Are you mad again? Commander raised and said, He thought, what a terrible nightmare. Commander Kao said to her, it's time to get up, Baroness. Go wash up. He also said to her, here, please eat. She became glad to see the breakfast and said, wow. He was dusting the walls, and she said to him, you really do like things squeaky clean, don't you? Kao replied to her, cleanliness is one of the basic tenets of life. I can't wait to see how dirty the second floor is. Baroness said to him, well, aren't you a charmer? You're sure eating well, little one. Dragon said to her, yeah, Dragon, started weeping while the Baroness, seeing him, was very shocked. Baroness said to him, were you crying? Dragon replied to her, and no, I wasn't. Baroness also said to him, you were. Your eyes are red. She also said to him, it doesn't look like you've grown much. Is it because you don't have enough mana? Dragon replied to her, I am okay. She also said to him, what do you mean, okay? Baroness said, come here, and hugged him. Commander said to her, put him down, please. Baroness said to him, let me just hug him for 10 minutes. Commander took him from her and said to her, I know you slept with him again yesterday. Baroness said, give him back. Commander Kao said to her, I'm trying to nurse you back to health, so why were you hugging the one who made you sick in the first place? She turned back and said to him, I never asked you to nurse me. He put him on the sofa and asked her, what was that? Baroness said to him, thanks for breakfast. Baroness said to him, there's still a lot left. I'm full. Commander Kao said to her, this is why you're losing weight. You look at least 10 pounds lighter than you were 2 years ago. Baroness Eleonora said to him, you even know my weight? He replied to her, of course. He also said to her, there's nothing I don't know about you. I know your age, birthday, height, weight, fingerprints, stride, everything. Baroness, shocked, said, wow. Baroness said to him, that's kinda creepy. Commander had a question in his mind. Commander Kao glanced and said to her, I'm surprised you think so. We're hardly recent acquaintances. Did you really think I still don't know that much? You have 15 previous convictions, Baroness. She put her hand on her face and said, yeah. So you've said? He said, it's time for a walk. She also said to him, let's go together. You can hold the little one. Dragon opened the door and said to her, I am okay, I'll stay home. She looked at him and had a question in her mind. I don't wanna. Dragon said to her, I can sleep without you, Noah. Baroness Eleonora sat behind him and said, what? You're not gonna sleep with me? Dragon replied to her, I'm not a baby anymore. It's already been 10 days since I hatched. I can sleep on my own now. She said to him. She stood up and said, sure. She went into the bedroom and slept. She turned and looked at the pillow. She raised and put her feet down. Baroness turned the cloth and said to him, hey? He was weeping under the bed. Baroness Eleonora said to him, come here. Baroness Eleonora took him and said, I can sleep by myself. I mean it, I'm the one who can't sleep alone. She took him with her to bed and hugged him. She woke up and said H. She saw that he had disappeared. Baroness went downstairs and thought, where did he go? She came to him, looking at him, and thought, nothing happened. Thank goodness. Is he cold? Arg. Oh wow. Hey, why'd you suddenly? Oh, so you went into town the Monday before last? Yes. All right. What were your whereabouts and activities the Wednesday before last? That boy's acting strange. I've asked him why he's avoiding me, but he won't answer. Is he feeling bad about stealing my mana? But if that's the reason, then why has he only been like this since yesterday? As expected, it all comes back to imprinting with the dragon. It's not that I haven't imprinted with him just because he originally had another master. If you imprint with a dragon, you're bound together for life. Each dragon chooses who gets to imprint with it, but dragons themselves are under the care of the imperial household. Whoever imprints with the dragon will need to take part in important national affairs. And whenever anything dangerous happens, they'll be the first ones dragged out. Of course, that kind of power comes with great responsibility, but still, will I be able to handle everything to come? Am I ready to take on all that responsibility? Life with the dragon would be completely different from the comfortable existence I'd imagined. Just raising a pet involves a lot of trouble and determination. A little kid like him, who's practically a person, I don't think he's even growing properly. He was growing daily, but now it seems like he stayed the same size for days. Baroness. Why, yes? I asked if you've had any contact with Adrian Rossignol recently. Huh? Who? Adrian Rossignol. Who's that? Never mind. It appears you don't know. You seem to be having difficulty concentrating. We'll stop here for today. I have business at the Soren office, so I'll be leaving early today. You're out of groceries, so you'd better go shopping. Everything you'll need is written here. Sure, can't trust you with this. I'll come along. Sweetie, I'm home. Sweetie? Honey? Not here. Are you in here? Not here either. He's gone. Did he go outside? Hey, kiddo. Where are you? Honey. What's going on, miss? Baby, the baby's gone. He's about this tall with dark hair and, oh dear, name? He still doesn't have a name. Did he go looking for a new master because he thought I wouldn't imprint with him? Noah. Please don't throw me away. I didn't mean to hurt you, Noah. You could have at least said goodbye one last time before you left. I liked living with you too. And I wasn't completely against imprinting either. No. Maybe he just got lost. First off, I'll go make a report with the police. Thud, Soren Police Department. Swing. Sir Leonard, what brings you here at this hour? Please move over. This is the Tziva Investigation and Security Bureau. Please state your business. Paul, please send me all the documents we have relating to Baroness Eleonora Acel. Transfer the data here to Sorrent, the 10th district of Lunazel. Yes, sir. I'll send them immediately. Transmission in progress. My intel on Baroness Acel was all correct. When I briefly touched her hand, even her fingerprints confirmed that she is, indeed, Eleonora Acel. But I know. I've had 15 previous convictions. She made it sound like she was talking about someone else. And Adrian Rossignol, the Minister of Magic, has been her lover for 4 years, yet she acted like she didn't even know his name. She had no reason to lie. Who's that? Eleonora Acel. Who on earth are you? Commander Kyle sat on the sofa and read a paper. He thought, Eleonora Acel, who on earth are you? Renia Voltaire said, that's just a mousetrap. You know, for catching mice? Don't you get it? Baroness took the dragon and said I only wanted to return him to his original guardian. She also said, you're so persistent, detective. I already told you, I don't know anything. I made it properly, so if you're intent on roughing someone up, then go find a middleman. Do I look like I've got time to waste answering your questions? Baroness hugged him and said, come here. Commander said, idiot. Honey said to him, Sir Leonard? He thought, I've been in charge of the Eleonora Acel case for 5 years, and I'm only certain now. She kept so quiet during the past 2 years that I'd even forgotten about her. It's dulled my judgment. Baroness opened the door and said, is that you, sweetie? She said to him, honey. Baroness shouted and caught him. You should have answered when I called. I've been looking all over for you. Eleonora shouted. I've been so worried. I thought you were my head. She trembled. Dragon said to her, you shouldn't hug me, Noah. Noah asked him if you were there, why didn't you answer me? Dragon turned and said, it's just, Noah, you hate me. She said, what? Dragon replied, you were so nice to me that I started liking you and wanted to be with you, but, even now that you're sick, you still don't want to imprint with me. She thought, you must think I'm a pain. Dragon also said, I was scared you didn't like me. I was afraid of being hated by you, Noah, so I, Eleonora said to him, sweetie, it's not like that at all. I've never hated you. Asterisk, she thought. Asterisk, you're right. I had no intention of imprinting with you at first. And I was already so tired of life. I was almost ready to just give up. So I thought I'd just send you back to where you came from. Asterisk, Dragon thought. But being with you made me happy. You're so adorable and sweet, she said to him. So I guess I'd been putting off making a decision and just wanted to keep you by my side. I'm sorry if it felt like I was stringing you along, she said. Asterisk, sweetie, if it's okay. That I'm such a pathetic excuse for an adult. Asterisk, she sat with him and said, would you like to stay and live with me? Baroness added, I've been so afraid of taking responsibility for my choices that it seems I've avoided making decisions altogether. Honestly, she also said, asterisk, I don't want to let you go either. I want to be with you too. I'll admit, I am a bit scared of what the future will bring. Asterisk, Commander Kyle said to her, asterisk, but no matter what happens, I won't blame you. This is my decision. So if you trust me, and if you still want to, asterisk, she gave her hand, and the dragon hesitated to touch her. Dragon said, Noah. She hugged him and thought, we can't imprint until I give you a name, right? She said, right. Baroness sat on the bed and said, but what to choose? She thought, asterisk, in the novel, he had an ancient name meaning the darkest night. It must have been chosen for him since he's a black dragon, right? But I don't want to give him such an unsettling name. One's life reflects one's name. Asterisk, she said, asterisk, Mia? Muriel. That's nice. Asterisk, Baroness said to him, asterisk, do you know what it means? It's a combination of Miu and idle, which mean clear water, and blue, in the ancient language. Do you like it? Asterisk, Dragon replied, yes, she said, asterisk, what's this, Mia? Imprinting. Asterisk, she also said, asterisk, I'm suddenly overflowing with energy. It's amazing, asterisk, Dragon said to her, from now on, you're really my master, Noah. Someone knocked on the door. Dragon said, I'm so happy you imprinted with me. Baroness asked, hug, she thought, asterisk, is that Sir Leonard? The house was already a mess, and now these sparkles, what am I gonna do? Okay, I'll just tell him straight. I haven't done anything wrong. My conscience is clear. Asterisk, she said, yes, coming. Baroness thought, asterisk, huh? Didn't I lock the door? Asterisk, Commander Kyle said to her, I'll ask you directly. He thought, Eleonora Acel. Commander Leonard asked her, is that who you really are? He said to her, Eleonora Acel. Is that who you really are? Commander Kyle said to her, asterisk, don't think about making any moves. Just answer the question. You know what I did in your house. Oh, right. His cleaning. Asterisk, he confiscated all of Eleonora's magical items, and now he knows everything about the structure of the house. I can't expect another fluke like last time, he also said to her, asterisk, I'll ask you again, Eleonora Acel. Are you really who you say you are? I won't ask a third time. Asterisk, Baroness thought, asterisk, why is he asking me that? Is it a question for me, Noah Park, and not Eleonora Acel? No, is it even a question in the first place? Well, it's all or nothing, asterisk, Baroness Eleonora said to him. I'm not. Commander Kyle said to her, what's your real name? She said to him, asterisk, Noah. Noah Park, asterisk, he said to her, state your age, gender, and origin. Baroness replied, asterisk, by your measure, I'm a woman of 26 years of age. As for my origin, even if I told you, you wouldn't know of it. You see, I'm not from this world, asterisk, Commander also said to her, that's for me to decide. She replied, Seoul, Republic of Korea. She thought, I told you wouldn't know. Commander also said to her, your original occupation? She replied, I was just an ordinary office worker at a trading company. He asked her, and where's Eleonora Acel now? He said, she's dead. He asked, dead? Baroness thought, asterisk, when I found this body, her soul was already gone. I don't know who killed her or how she died, asterisk, Commander Kyle said to her, so then, where's your original body? She thought, asterisk, it's dead too. I think I died of overwork, asterisk, he thought, asterisk, you're gonna work yourself into an early grave doing things like that. Is that a curse? It's pity, asterisk, she said, asterisk, after I died, I wandered around unfamiliar places for a long time. And this is the body I ended up in, Asterisk Commander said to her, "Why this particular body?" Baroness replied, "I don't know." Furthermore, he said to her, "You weren't after Eleonora Izel's magical abilities?" She said to him, "If I had been, then I'd know how to use magic." He also said to her, "So you're saying you can't use magic?" She replied, "Nope. All I can do is use magical items with instructions. Oh, and I can use the translation magic that Eleonora placed on herself." Dragon said to her, "Noah," Baroness thought, "stay back, Mia. It's dangerous." Commander thought, "Dead, Eleonora Izel's dead." He asked her, "Are you willing to cooperate?" Noah shouted and said to him, "Yes, yes. I'll cooperate." At this point, I'm completely helpless, Detective. It's impossible to pretend to be calm. So could you please put that down? Commander thought, should I believe her? There's no evidence. Noah thought, will I believe this woman's story about other worlds and floating souls? This mysterious woman. Commander still glanced at her. Commander asked her, "The dragon fully imprinted on you, right?" She replied, "Yes." Commander said to her, "As I recall, you clearly stated that you had nothing to do with the disappearance of Lisa Virginier's egg. Was that a lie?" Noah abrasively said to him, "I never ha." "Elle lied." He said to her, "Wait, why is your breathing?" She again said, "Huff." She thought, the energy that felt so good before now feels like it's scratching at my insides. Wasn't my body supposed to return to normal once the imprinting was complete? So then, why? Commander, surprised, thought, "I think I'm gonna faint again." He shouted and thought, "Master," he said to her, "Master, are you all right? You fainted several minutes ago." Noah fell down and said, "Ha," he said to her, "You're feverish. First off, let's get you upstairs." "If you'll allow me," Noah said to him. Wait. Commander Kyle said to her, "I won't hurt you. You can't just keep sitting here." Noah replied, "I'm scared," he said to her, "I won't have it on me." "Will that do?" She shouted and replied, "There's another gun in your jacket. Please take it off." Dragon shouted and said to them, "Take off your jacket." Commander Kyle removed his coat, took her, and went toward the room. He laid her on the bed and said, "I got this last time. It should bring down your fever. Get some sleep. I'll wake you when the time comes." Noah, sleeping, said to him, "Thank you, she slept well." Commander Kyle glanced at her and thought, "See, but I'll trust her this once. This suspicious woman, They were sitting together and Baroness said, "You're going to treat me as a witness, right? I promised to cooperate with your investigation, remember? If you point a gun at me," Commander Kyle replied her, "I won't." He also said her, "Haven't you considered that this might have been a rather threatening situation for me too?" He said her, "Ha. I'll ask you one more time. Did you steal the dragon's egg?" Dragon said them, "No. I'm not the egg thief." Dragon thought, "I thought it was just a normal egg rolling around on the ground in the corner of the marketplace. I figured it was just an especially big ostrich egg or something." She thought while looking at the dragon, "Oh dear, I already told him I'm possessing this body, but saying that this is all from a novel, should I tell him I know his setup and who his future spouse is? Ugh, that'd be super awkward." Baroness said him, "I've been living here around 2 years now. Long enough to know what's going on. I read the newspaper too, you know? I've also read some books in the ancient language and a few books that were in Eleonora's hoe." She also said him, "Wait, how long have you known that Myl was a dragon? You mentioned that magic is shared after imprinting. So doesn't that mean you already knew before he imprinted?" Baroness further said him, "Have you known from the very beginning? So you just watched me suffer while knowing all along?" "Hold on. Did you too?" Dragon shouted and said her, "That man said he'd help me imprint with you as long as I stayed out of his way and didn't cause any trouble." He said, "Huh? And what about you? You tried to kill me at every chance you got." Dragon replied her, "Nah. Did not." Commander said her, "Well, I thought I heard you say something about how everything would be fine as long as no one gets killed. So what was that all about then, HM?" Baroness said asked him wait just a minute. So all that stuff about increasing my stamina was to prevent me from going through with him imprinting, wasn't it? Commander said her yes, but all the while, you didn't seem to have any complaints, and this was when you secretly already knew everything from my name, face, the dragon's existence, even imprinting. Baroness asked him ugh, whatever? So, what are you gonna do now? Am I gonna be taken in? Commander stood up and said her first off, I'll need to change the investigation proceedings. But before that, there's something I need to confirm. She takes a book and thought excuse me. Commander said her Commander. Kyle sat down and said her the flow of magic is still unstable. Your heart's beating too fast, and it seems your fever's getting worse. She replied okay. He asked her when did you imprint? Dragon looked at her and said just before you came. Commander Kyle picked her hand and said I see. Imprinting may have been why you fainted. He thought that the surrounding area appears to be red and swollen. Baroness said him ow. It hurts when you touch it. He said her I am sorry. She asked him did you give this dragon a name? She said yes. Commander Kyle said her show me your hand. You're probably the cause. Dragon said him me? Commander Kyle said that unless your master's so weak that she lost her mind from just a small interrogation, I think the cause is obvious. Here, come closer. Commander said her try moving it. She asked am moving what? Kyle also said her that the dragon's power. It's both within you and within pretty much the entirety of this house. Commander Kyle had a question and said can you attack me right now? She said what? He said her any form of attack will do. She said him perhaps I could slap you once on the cheek. Commander said her I meant, use your magical power to hit me ms. Park. She became sad and said I see. She thought that ms. Park. It's been a long time since someone's addressed me like that. It's strange. Baroness said that I already told you, detective, I can't use magic. When will you believe me? He replied her there seems to be a problem with the imprinting. She said pardon? She thought if the imprinting was done properly, then the dragon's magic should resonate perfectly with you. But the flow of magic from the dragon to you is being cut off intermittently. It's as if it's being blocked by something. Such a powerful force being transmitted in such an unstable manner is bound to put strain on your body. Commander said her, and if it had been done perfectly, you'd be able to wield the dragon's power at will. It doesn't matter if you don't know how. Baroness shocked and said oh? Commander Kyle said her at first I thought that, since this body isn't originally yours, it was rejecting external magic. Well, that's assuming your statement holds true. She said him it is true. He said her when I tried sending my mana into your body earlier, it wasn't rejected. And if it had been? Would I have kicked the bucket? It was an extremely small amount. Anyway, that's why I think this dragon's the cause. Baroness thought apparently, imprinting begins when a dragon's incubation period's imminent. From that time forward, the dragon resonates with all the humans that once came into contact with it through the egg. Then, once it hatches, it cuts off resonance with other candidates, and officially attempts to imprint with a single person. Commander said her oh, so then, before I found the dragon egg in that alley, she thought that's right. So think of this as a time when the dragon's resonance with those who came into contact with the egg hasn't yet been cut off. Commander Kyle asked from him kid, you said you heard a human voice while you were still in the egg, didn't you? Is that right? Baroness looks him and said mew, was the voice you heard male or female? Dragon said Baroness said him that was it more like my voice, or his? Dragon said her it was like yours, Noah. She thought in the original novel, the dragon's first contact was obviously with Renia. So, did Renia acquire the dragon's egg, and then did something happen for me to come across the egg? Was the dragon's first contact even really with Renia? When did things start to diverge from the novel? Well, for now, the only person I can think of as the dragon's original owner is Renia. Dragon said her I'm sure I chose Noah. And it's not that the imprinting failed. I just need to cut off my resonance with every human other than Noah. He said her ha, I think I'm only hurting you, Noah. But even if you hate me for it, there's nothing I can do, Baroness replied him mew. Baroness said him mew, Have you forgotten what I said before? We promised not to blame each other. It was my choice, so I'll take responsibility. Dragon said I could never hate you, Mia. The two of us are going to live a very long, peaceful life. We just need to quickly find the culprit in the resonance case and get it cut off. Baroness glanced at him and said, so come with me and we'll find out who it is together. Dragon became happy and said okay. I thought things would finally settle down a little, but it seems I've still got more work to do.